We also are united in energy. And I talked about Libya. We actually are very biased. We think it makes more sense to buy oil from Canada than oil from Libya. And we think it makes more sense for Canada. We would rather buy from Canada than from Gaddafi. And we think that's very, very straightforward. And we think that pipelines will produce more energy security for the United States and more economic growth and jobs in the United States and Canada. It was candidate Obama that said a couple of years ago that within 10 years, the United States would wean itself away from Venezuelan oil and from oil from the Middle East. And we think that made a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense to have refineries and upgraders built by Boilermakers than have all the jobs in the Middle East and all the issues of international security that goes with those countries. It was the governor of Montana, Brian Schweitzer, who said that he doesn't send his National Guard to Alberta, to Fort McMurray or Edmonton. He sends them to risk their lives in the Middle East. We can have a great energy strategy with Canada and the United States working together and stop relying on the Middle East for oil and start relying on Canada and the United States working together. And this Boilermaker Convention can help make that happen. I'm absolutely convinced of that. It's very, very important, I think, for our international security. In fact, there's a Keystone Pipeline project that's been bumping along in Washington for 18 months, drifting along, you know, kind of never having anybody make a decision. And we think that that makes a lot of sense to proceed. Because not only do we get economic or energy security with working together between Canada and the United States, we also get economic security. Again, a refinery that's built or a upgrader that's manufactured in Canada and the United States makes good economic sense. The construction jobs that go with the pipeline, thousands of them, makes good economic sense in our two countries. And there's 900 suppliers. 900 suppliers in the United States supplying the oil sands in Canada. And sometimes people say, well, this oil sands is this and it's that, especially in Washington. Well, they've improved everything dealing with the oil sands. When it first started, yes, it had some challenges, like anything in an alpha stage. But it's now got less emissions than Venezuelan oil, even some California thermal oil. Not that we're against California thermal oil. We're all in favor of California wines and California jobs and everything else. But we believe that that's very important to put it in perspective. 900 companies. Last week I was in Portland, Oregon, and somebody was opposed to the project, but they didn't know in Portland the pumps were being built in Portland for the whole pipeline. Hopefully they're Boilermakers. I better check that out, Mr. President. If they aren't Boilermakers now, they should be in the future if we go ahead with this project. I was looking at Illinois, just happened to look at Illinois. 68 companies, including Caterpillar, building equipment for the oil sands in Canada. And so when you have thousands and thousands of jobs created by building pipelines and refineries and upgraders in Canada and the United States, doesn't it make sense? We're looking for reason or ways to get the economy moving. Why aren't we working with private sector capital funds that are already there waiting to be utilized to create jobs in Canada and the United States? We can't drift along. Unemployed workers can't wait. We need to get these projects moving, and we need to get them moving now, as far as I'm concerned, to get people working again in our two countries. And another area of really importance for projects in Canada and the United States is that we're both democracies. And in Canada, 50% of the investments in the oil sands in Alberta, 50% are equity funds, including pension funds and workers' pension funds in the United States. You don't have your pension funds invested in Algeria. You don't have your pension funds invested in Saudi Arabia. State agencies in the Middle East don't allow workers to get jobs in Canada and the United States, nor do they allow pension fund valuations to improve with the development of these projects. So I would say to everyone in this room that Canada and the United States should be working together on energy security, job security, and pension security by going ahead with the projects that are on the books, ready to go, ready to have workers work in communities, and ready to get these projects moving between our two countries. I say to the President, we agree. Wean yourself off of Middle Eastern oil. Wean yourself off of Venezuelan oil. Come to Canada and the United States and use Canadian and American oil and innovation to develop an energy strategy for our two countries. That is the key message. I want to thank you very, very much, and I promise you that the Canadian ambassador, as a former member of a labor union in Canada, is with you every step of the way. Let me know how we can work together to get people working. Thank you very, very much for your time here today. Thank you.